Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 3, Book 34, number 318. Narrated by Aisha. Mother of the faithful believers, I bought a cushion with pictures on it. When Allah's apostle saw it, he kept standing at the door and did not enter the house. I noticed the sign of disgust on his face, so I said, O Allah's apostle, I repent to Allah and His apostle. Please let me know what sin I have done. Allah's apostle said, What about this cushion? I replied, I bought it for you to sit and recline on. Allah's apostle said, The painters, i.e. owners, of these pictures will be punished on the day of resurrection. It will be said to them, Put life in what you have created, i.e. painted. The Prophet added, The angels do not enter a house where there are pictures. Volume 3, Book 34, number 319. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said, O Bani Najjar, suggest a price for your garden. Part of it was a ruin and it contained some date palms. Volume 3, Book 34, number 320. Narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet said, The buyer and the seller have the option to cancel or confirm the bargain before they separate from each other or if the sale is optional. Nafi said, Ibn Umar used to separate quickly from the seller if he had bought a thing which he liked. Volume 3, Book 34, number 321. Narrated by Ham bin Hizam. The Prophet said, The buyer and the seller have the option of cancelling or confirming the deal unless they separate. Volume 3, Book 34, number 322. Narrated by Ibn Umar. Allah's apostle said, The seller and the buyer have the option of cancelling or confirming the deal unless they separate, or one of them says to the other, Choose, i.e. decide to cancel or confirm the bargain now. Perhaps he said, or if it is an optional sale. Ibn Umar, Shurai, Ash-Shabi, Tawus, Atta, and Ibn Abu Mulaika agree upon this judgment. Volume 3, Book 34, number 323. Narrated by Hakim bin Hizam. The Prophet said, The buyer and the seller have the option of cancelling or confirming the bargain unless they separate, and if they spoke the truth and made clear the defects of the goods, then they would be blessed in their bargain, and if they told lies and hid some facts, their bargain would be deprived of Allah's blessings. Volume 3, Book 34, number 324. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. Allah's apostle said, Both the buyer and the seller have the option of cancelling or confirming a bargain unless they separate, or the sale is optional. See Hadith number 320. Volume 3, Book 34, number 325. Narrated by Ibn Umar. Allah's apostle said, Both the buyer and the seller have the option of cancelling or confirming the bargain, as long as they are still together, and unless they separate or one of them gives the other the option of keeping or rejecting. Volume 3, Book 34, number 326. Narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet said, No deal is settled and finalized unless the buyer and the seller separate, except if the deal is optional, whereby the validity of the bargain depends on the stipulations agreed upon. Volume 3, Book 34, number 327. Narrated by Hakim bin Hizam. The Prophet said, Both the buyer and the seller have the option of cancelling or confirming the bargain unless they separate. The sub-narrator, Hammond, said, I found this in my book. Both the buyer and the seller give the option of either confirming or cancelling the bargain 3 times. And if they speak the truth and mention the defects, then their bargain will be blessed, and if they tell lies and conceal the defects, they might gain some financial gain, but they will deprive their sale of Allah's blessings. Volume 3, Book 34, number 328. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. A person came to the Prophet and told him that he was always betrayed in purchasing. The Prophet told him to say at the time of buying, "No cheating." Volume 3, Book 34, number 329. Narrated by Aisha. Allah's Apostle said, "An army will invade the Kaaba, and when the invaders reach Al-Baida, all the ground will sink and swallow the whole army." I said, "O Allah's Apostle, how will they sink into the ground while amongst them will be their markets, the people who worked in business and not invaders, and the people not belonging to them?" The Prophet replied, "All of those people will sink, but they will be resurrected and judged according to their intentions." Volume 3, Book 34, number 330. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Apostle said, "The congregational prayer of anyone amongst you is more than 25 or 27 times in reward than his prayer in the market or in his house, for if he performs ablution completely and then goes to the mosque with the sole intention of performing the prayer, and nothing urges him to proceed to the mosque except the prayer, then, on every step which he takes towards the mosque, he will be raised 1 degree or one of his sins will be forgiven. The angels will keep on asking Allah's forgiveness and blessings for every one of you so long as he keeps sitting at his praying place. The angels will say, 'O Allah, bless him. O Allah, be merciful to him,' as long as he does not do hadith or a thing which gives trouble to the other." The Prophet further said, "One is regarded in prayer so long as one is waiting for the prayer." Volume 3, Book 34, number 331. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. While the Prophet was in the market, somebody called, "O Abu al-Qasim." The Prophet turned to him. The man said, "I have called to this, i.e. another man." The Prophet said, "Name yourselves by my name, but not by my kunya name." In Arabic world it is the custom to call the man as the father of his eldest son, e.g. Abu al-Qasim. See Hadith number 737, Volume 4. Volume 3, Book 34, number 332. Narrated by Anas. A man at al-Baqi called, "O Abu al-Qasim." The Prophet turned to him and the man said to the Prophet, "I did not intend to call you." The Prophet said, "Name yourselves by my name, but not by my kunya name." Volume 3, Book 34, number 333. Narrated by Abu Hurairah ad-Dawsi. Once the Prophet went out during the day. Neither did he talk to me nor I to him till he reached the market of Bani Kainuka, and then he sat in the compound of Fatima's house and asked about the small boy, his grandson Al-Hassan. But Fatima kept the boy in for a while. I thought she was either changing his clothes or giving the boy a bath. After a while the boy came out running, and the Prophet embraced and kissed him and then said, "O Allah, love him, and love whoever loves him."